If you have a dog, I want you to stop for 1 second. Think about the moment you walk through the door and they lose their mind just because you came home. No judgment, no agenda, just pure explosive joy because of you. That's not just cute. That's not just wholesome. That is one of the most powerful things happening to your nervous system, your heart, your lifespan. And most people have no idea. Today we're talking about 5 things your dog is doing for you that science has actually proven. And honestly, if you already have a dog, this video is going to make you love them even more. If you don't, well, don't say I didn't warn you. And if you care about your dog's emotional world and you are new here, hit subscribe, because here we help you connect better than ever. Let's get into it. 1. Your dog is physically changing your heart. Here's a number that should stop you cold. Dog owners are 65% less likely to die after a heart attack than people who don't own dogs. That's not a wellness blog stat. That's from the American Heart Association, published, peer-reviewed, real. And before you think, okay, dog owners probably just walk more, researchers controlled for that. They controlled for exercise, diet, age, everything. The effect was still there. So what's actually happening? When you pet your dog, your body releases oxytocin. That's the bonding hormone, the same one that floods a mother's brain when she holds her newborn child. And at the same time, your cortisol, your stress hormone, drops. Blood pressure goes down, heart rate slows. Your whole cardiovascular system just exhales. Not once, not occasionally, every single time. Your dog a daily, unconscious cardiac therapy session that you didn't have to schedule, pay for, or sit in traffic to reach. And here's the part that hits different. Your dog's heart rate drops too. Studies show that when a dog is near their bonded human, their stress goes down as well. You are each other's calm. You are regulating each other just by being in the same room. That's not a pet. That's a relationship your body physically depends on. And it gets deeper than the heart. Stay with me. 2. Your dog is treating your anxiety without you even asking. Anxiety is one of the most common conditions on Earth right now. Over 300 million people worldwide live with it. Sleepless nights, chest tightness, the kind of dread that has no specific reason. It just sits there. And here's what most people do. They push through, they manage, they cope. But dog owners are quietly getting something that most people are paying therapists and pharmacies to find. A study out of Washington State University found that just 10 minutes of petting a dog produced a measurable drop in cortisol levels. Not people felt better, measurable, in the blood. 10 minutes. And dogs are not passive in this. They know. Research shows dogs can detect elevated cortisol in human sweat. They can smell your anxiety before you've even consciously registered it yourself. That's why your dog comes and lays on you when you're spiraling at 2 a.m. That's why they put their head in your lap when you're crying. They're not guessing. They're responding. There's a reason therapy dogs are now placed in hospitals, courtrooms, and college campuses during exams. This isn't trend culture. This is biology being used deliberately because it works. You've been living with a biological anxiety intervention this whole time. And the most underrated part? They don't need you to explain yourself. You don't have to perform okayness. You don't have to be fine. You can fall apart on the kitchen floor and they will just stay. No fixing, no advice, just presence. That kind of acceptance is rarer than people admit. But the next point, this one surprised even me. 3. Your dog is making you more human. Loneliness is now being called a public health epidemic. The U.S. Surgeon General officially declared it one. Research from Brigham Young University found that social isolation increases the risk of early death by 26%. Comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. We are surrounded by more connection than ever, and more people feel profoundly alone than at any point in modern history. And dogs are quietly cutting through that in a way that nothing else really does. Here's the part that's fascinating. Dogs don't just keep you company, they make you more connectable to other humans. Studies show that people are significantly more likely to approach and talk to strangers who are walking a dog. A dog is a social passport. It gives people an opening that they wouldn't otherwise feel comfortable taking. It removes the awkward blank wall between two strangers on a street. But deeper than the social side, dogs create routine. And routine is the skeleton of a meaningful life. Feeding, walking, waking up, bedtime. These aren't chores, these are anchors. When everything feels unstructured, chaotic, or purposeless, which is exactly how loneliness and depression feel, your dog is still there at 7 a.m. needing breakfast. And that small, repeating act of being needed, that matters more than people think. A 2020 study found that dog owners reported significantly higher levels of meaning and purpose in their daily lives. Not happiness, meaning. That's a deeper metric. Your dog makes you get up, leave the house, nod at a neighbor, come home to something. And in doing that, quietly, repeatedly, it holds the architecture of your social world together. We haven't even talked about what they do to your brain yet, so stay with me. 4. Your dog is protecting your brain as you age. The fear of cognitive decline is one of the quietest fears people carry. Alzheimer's, dementia, the idea of losing your own memories, your own self. It's terrifying, and it often feels like something that just happens to you, something you can't do much about. But the research here is striking. A study presented at the Alzheimer's Association International Conference found that dog owners who lived alone showed 40% less cognitive decline over a 6-year period compared to non-dog owners living alone. 40%. That is not a small number. That is not a marginal benefit. That is significant protection. The reason seems to come from several directions at once. Dogs require you to stay mentally active, to track schedules, respond to behavior, problem solve. They require you to be physically active, walks, play, movement, and critically, they require emotional engagement. You're always reading them. They're always reading you. That back and forth is a form of sustained, daily cognitive exercise that doesn't feel like exercise. And there's a loneliness angle here again. Chronic loneliness and social withdrawal are themselves risk factors for dementia. Having a dog keeps you in the rhythm of connection. It keeps a part of your brain active that isolation would slowly quiet. This is why there are now structured programs placing dogs in elder care facilities, not as a comfort measure, but as a cognitive intervention strategy, because the data supports it. Your dog is not just company in your old age. Your dog might be one of the reasons you're still yourself in your old age. We're almost done, but the last point, save it. It's the one that stays with you. 5. Your dog already knows you better than you think. Here is a thing that science has now confirmed that dog owners have always felt. Your dog knows when you're sad. They know when you're scared. They know when something is wrong, sometimes before you do. Dogs can detect cancer. They can predict epileptic seizures sometimes up to 45 minutes before they happen. They can detect low blood sugar in diabetics. They can sense PTSD episodes before they escalate. This isn't magic. This is an animal that has co-evolved with human beings for 15,000 years, longer than any other domestic animal, specifically tuned to read us, our faces, our body language, our scent, our voices. Research from the University of Lincoln found that dogs are the only non-human animals that instinctively look to the human face for emotional information the way humans look at each other's faces. They were shaped over millennia to know us. And here's what that means on an ordinary Tuesday. When you come home exhausted and you haven't said a word and your dog comes and just sits against you, they're not performing comfort. They read you. They chose to be there. They made a decision based on information only they could sense to stay close. That is presence. That is, in the truest possible sense, being seen. Most humans will go years without feeling genuinely, quietly, unconditionally seen. Your dog does it every day. So here's what we know. Your dog is lowering your blood pressure, calming your nervous system, treating your loneliness, protecting your brain, and reading you with a level of attention that most people will never receive from another person. And they do all of this without asking for anything except your presence and maybe a walk. There's a quote I keep thinking about, and I don't know who said it first, but it goes, "Dogs come into our lives to teach us about love. They leave to teach us about loss." And both of those things, the love and the loss, they make us more human. If you have a dog, go be with them after this, just for a minute. Put your phone down and be with them. They won't remember this video, but they will remember you showed up. If you understood how much value your dog adds to your life, subscribe us. And let's connect to your dog even better together. Take care of yourselves and your dogs.